Aloha and welcome to episode 13 of the Weekly Wellness Show. And today's topic, what we're going to talk about today, is basically lab work. Okay, blood work, lab work. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot of different things right now about different kinds of labs to take. Maybe your doctor runs a lab on you once a year, or wherever you get your regular health care from. But I want to tell you that not all lab work is equal, okay? Or equal in value, I should say. So the common lab work that a lot of people get today from their doctors, like let's say, for example, if you have an HMO, like a Kaiser or something similar to that, what happens is, you're entitled to getting, different lab values done once a year. Now, the thing about these lab values, and this is blood work and a urinalysis and things like that. However, some of this blood work that is provided to you is only giving you just the basic information, all right? Now, part of that is you're only getting this much information because that's just the minimal amount of information that, per whatever diagnosis you've been given, that the insurance company will pay for, okay? So sometimes a lot of doctors ask, God, how come they don't do all these other panels? Why is that not included? Why don't they do more than just test my regular cholesterol and, your total cholesterol, HDL, LDLs, things like that? Why don't they test more to really see if there's anything that has oxidized in my bloodstream, or if there's anything inflammatory going on? Why is that not covered? Well, the thing is, in order for a lot of doctors or medical doctors, I'm saying, for them to prescribe something, prescribe a medication or things like that, it usually has to be congruent with certain lab results. So let's say, for example, if your cholesterol is at a certain level and the doctor seems to think that, all right, you should be put on a statin drug to help lower cholesterol. Well, there's a lot of things that go into that, all right? First of all, were any liver enzymes performed? How is your liver functioning? How is your blood pressure? What are your triglycerides? That means the fat in your bloodstream. There's all these. What's the inflammation like in your bloodstream? Did they run what we call a C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker for the heart and cardiovascular system? Or another one is like homocysteine for inflammation throughout the body and especially the heart. How come these tests are not being done prior to the doctor writing the script saying that, well, your cholesterol is high, so I got to write a script? Well, this is why. The main reason is this, as in medicine, okay, the standard of care dictates that, if your blood levels are beyond a certain reach and the doctor seems that it's necessary for you to be on medication, hence that's what they do, okay? There are medical doctors put you on medication, especially if you're a primary care physician, especially if you're going to an HMO or things like that. Their job is to help you by putting you on medication. Now, I'm not saying that all doctors are like this, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of influence from the pharmaceutical companies for doctors to practice the way they are. So take it easy on your doctor. Your doctor is only doing what the system is telling him to do so he could stay within the quote-unquote standard of care. So let's kind of get into that. So, for example, I'm a chiropractor, all right? So just so you know that, if you didn't know that already. And I do a lot of work in the world of weight loss and nutrition, okay? I also run blood work. I do lab work, to see, let's see what your blood sugars are like, what your thyroid is doing, how is it functioning, how is your liver working, your cholesterol, what's high, what's low. I also run inflammatory markers, so I can really see in the background, is there a fire going on that needs to be put out? And also, we do a urinalysis, and we have these labs basically gone out to a lab called LabCorp. Okay, which is one of the biggest labs outside of Quest. I think it's the first or second, largest lab within the United States. So we run these labs, we get these labs back, and we get a nice report. Okay, so we get a nice report that's about 3 or 4 pages long. Now, a lot of times when a doctor goes over to the lab report, he's going to kind of look at it and go, you know what, you're doing just great. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay on your medication, and I'll see you in another 6 months to a year from now. Okay, there's that yearly or every 6-month visit. Well, here's the thing. Do you necessarily have to wait 6 months to see a change in your blood work? The answer is no. I think what they like to do is, per the standard of care, is, they're having you come back later on for a year from now to put you on medication, hoping that you're going to comply with your lifestyle changes that he kind of mentioned, that, hey, by the way, you may want to start eating healthy and working out. Well, what does that mean, right? So you're going to have to find people to help you on that aspect. But if you're just taking the medication and he runs another lab and says, hey, wow, your cholesterol's down, your blood pressure's down, well, I think you should still keep taking the medication. So when does it get to a point where medication is no longer necessary? Well, that should be done based on the blood work, okay? Lab work. It's chemistry, right? So if I'm seeing a change in someone, if I see a change in someone because they made the proper nutritional and lifestyle changes that would help their blood scores or blood levels change, particularly their labs, right? So, for example, if someone has high cholesterol, I'm going to say, okay, why don't we do this? Let's find out what it is that's causing it first. Maybe they're under stress. Maybe they're on a lot of medication. Maybe they're not eating as healthy as they can. Well, let's put them on a plan for about a good 3 to 4 months, and let's see how those blood changes, let's see how those blood values change over time. And sometimes I'll run a lab every, at least every 3 to 4 months. But typically I like to run labs every 6. You don't have to wait a year to find out if something really bad is happening. I say now in today's world, boy, if you're waiting to get a lab just done once a year, anything can happen in a year or two, even within 6 months. But I always recommend to people, hey, if you really are conscious and want to stay ahead of your health, get these labs done every 6 months. And then you can really see how your body's functioning over the course of the year. And I mean all the same markers. So once I get this data, one of the differences is, well, these kinds of labs here, right, with these labs, what happens to them is that the lab values are on a bell curve, right? So to understand the bell curve, so this is on like a population of people, and every 2 to 3 years, that population changes, okay? So there's like that, quote unquote, well, this is gonna be that new normal, all right? So for example, when I run labs, I like to print out a report. After I get today's current lab values, I print out a report, and then I create this for them, specifically for the patient, to show them that, hey, look, this is the analysis of the labs we just ran at you from LabCorp. But the unique thing about this analysis is it's going to tell me what nutrition you truly need, whether it's supplements, whether it's maybe certain kinds of exercise. We also do now, labs based on your DNA. We can do a DNA test to find out, what are some of the things that your body needs? What's truly the appropriate exercise for you versus someone else based on your genetic makeup? Okay, and what are some of the better foods that you can be having too, based on your blood results or your genetic makeup? Okay, sometimes it's the blood we got to pay attention to first because there's something going on right now, so we want to take care of that. And then once that's settled in, well, as long as we have an idea what your genetic makeup likes, well, then we could put something more into a wellness program for you based on your genetic makeup to see that you are supporting your genes rather than antagonizing them or going against the grain, okay? So one thing to do, let's go back to this. Go to LabCorp. This is what we do with our patients. We go to LabCorp, we go to the labs, right? Well, remember, this is on a bell curve, right? So that means every 2 to 3 years, the normal values on that lab are going to change, because is this country getting healthier or sicker? I think by now we all know the answer to that, especially with this COVID pandemic we've been experiencing the last 2 to 3 months. So no, the country's getting sicker. So there has to be a new normal of lab values. Well, when I do this special lab test on my patients, I don't want to compare them to all the quote unquote normal sick people in America. I'm going to compare to the people in blood values from 30 years ago, when healthy was healthy, where we didn't have gluten issues, GMOs, or all these other crazy toxicity. We didn't have all that. We're 30 years ago, we were in a much better place than we are now. So I like to do that. And then what I'll do is, when I do the lab, I'll share with my patient, and I'll color code it to let them know, hey, look, if something's in the red, we definitely got to pay attention to that. It's something we have to take action on. If something's in the yellow, well, we'll keep an eyeball on it. But if something's in the blue, like a code blue situation, we definitely need to take some action and possibly get some medical guidance or assistance on this. So I like to show people that based on what their labs are showing me, I can also dictate to them, instead of telling them what drugs they need to be on to bring those lab values down, I'd rather recommend a lifestyle program with specific supplements that's going to help feed their body the right nutrition it's missing. okay, to go back to its normal physiological way of being, okay? So supplements are designed to help the organs go back to normal physiological, ranges. And that's what we're doing. We're not reversing things. We're not telling people that, hey, by taking this supplement, it's going to basically cause X, Y, and Z. No, we're basically supplementing because you're not getting the nutrition from the food that you did once, years ago, over 40, 50 years ago. So we supplement your meals with particular and specific nutritional supplements, okay? Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, things like that. So anyways, I hope you found that interesting. So not all labs are equal. So anytime one of my patients comes in, they go, Doc, I got my labs done. The doctor said it's okay. I go, well, let me take a look at them. And what I'll do is I'll get their labs and I'll run them through into my software and basically spit out a report and show them. I go, look, I get that's what your doctor told you here, but this is what I'm seeing. So if anyone out there is ever interested in getting a lab like this, find a doctor near you that does this kind of functional lab work, okay? And tell them that you're interested to really, it's always good to get another set of eyes on your blood work, okay? And what I'm finding too, the majority of the blood work that's being done out there is not enough. So especially this whole SARS COVID things going on right now. I mean, there's so much talk out there. Oh, I got to get the antibodies done. I should get a regular test done. Well, you know what? To each his own on that. I just think that there's so much new testing coming out. We're not quite sure exactly what we're looking for, or if those are truly the most specific tests we can get to determine if we have COVID-19 or not. Anyways, I hope you enjoy that. So if you're looking for a lab report that basically tells you, okay, based on this, you have no cancer, you have no sickness, whatever, and whatever is high or low on here, we can take care of with medication. Or would you rather have a lab that's going to share with you what steps you need to take in your healthy lifestyle and what specific meals and nutritional supplementation you should take to help your body do just that, and that is self-regulate, metabolize, and heal. Remember, the body always wants to heal if we give it the right food and energy and fuel that it needs to do just that. Anyways, thank you so much for being here with me today. Look forward to seeing you again next week. One more thing, too, just so I know you're live, hit subscribe, and keep you well. Please tag that bell. All right, mahalo, and we'll talk to you next week. Aloha.